Good evening. So I just got a new scope for my Tika. This time it's a 34mm tube, and I thought it would be pretty interesting to compare the lapping results from the element Acculite rings with these rings, and they are the Audere, what's they called? PSR Gen 3, and just thought it would be interesting. So I have a 34mm lapping rod, and business as usual. Just gonna smear some lapping compound in the rings, and this time I think I'm gonna go at the bottom rings a little bit first before installing the top rings to increase tension. It seems that the top rings form to the lapping tool a little bit better, so they get a better lapping result quicker. So in order to not take off too much material on the top rings, I think I'm going to wait and install them when I see some results in the bottom rings first. So let's go. So it's already pretty clear that these rings needs lapping as well, in my opinion, and for my kind of use. The rear ring has some pretty clear marks, and the front ring looks maybe a little more even, but let's keep going. This is where we're at so far. I think compared to the element rings, the pattern may be a little more even and maybe not in need of so much lapping as the element rings. So might be an indication of a little bit better machining. Let's keep going. Looks good so far, coming along pretty even. And would say they look a little bit, less in need of less lapping than the element rings. I think it's now it's time to introduce the top rings and apply a little bit more tension and get the lapping in on the top rings as well. they're just only snugging them up, not really tightening them at all. And I'm making sure the top rings are even on both sides. I'm comparing the gap between the top ring and the bottom ring. So let's have a look. And just for good measures, I'm going to make sure that the top rings always get placed the same on the same bottom ring. Yeah, it's kind of as expected. The lapping result is really even, and the top rings starting to chew away nicely, although I can see a little more obvious towards the very edge. Similar result on the front ring. Bottom rings are coming along nicely. I'd say we are probably about 50%, maybe about 70% on the rear. Let's keep going a little bit more. Looks pretty good. I'd say we're about 90% of the surface is lapped. Let's have a look at the rear. Looks about the same deal. Yeah. bottom rings. Okay, so the front ring looks really good, just a little bit toward the edge, but I would consider this ring done, together with the top ring for the front, the back. Looks about the same, and I would, call these done. Looks really good. Seems to be kind of the same situation as the element rings. The pattern looks to be a little bit uneven because of the machining process. I would assume switching between operations, this could be introduced some crookedness. But bear in mind, this is very little, and I would actually, these Audere rings, pretty easy, and I would say gives a more even result from the start. Not to say that element rings are bad in any way. I've actually rather enjoyed them, but I wanted to try a different pair of rings this time to have something to compare with. And it even has a little cute bubble level on the rear ring. I guess it could be useful when lining up your rifle, but I really doubt that it's anyway visible in a practical way when actually shooting. But it's there. If it works, it works, or if not, it's still a couple of pretty nice rings. And so far I wouldn't hesitate buying them again. One thing initially I like about the element rings is the mounting screws for the rail. It's a half-inch a regular half-inch socket, like these. Works really good, and the clamps are even under spring tension, so they hold open when the nuts are loosened. It's a very nice feature. And on the Audere rings, it's a regular Torx 25. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's an M6 bolt. But for everyday use, I kind of like the element nut. Yeah, but wouldn't hesitate buying either of the rings again. So let's call that a lapping comparison between element Acculite scope rings and these Audere PSR Gen 3 34mm rings. Looks like they're pretty nice rings, and I'm gonna have them at the range tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Maybe we can do another comparison at a later date with some other rings. It's kind of interesting. Maybe have a go at some of the German or Austrian made rings. As far as I think I know, the Audere is probably made in Italy or Spain, maybe, but they're pretty nice. If you have any comment or anything interesting about the lapping scope rings and mounting scopes and stuff, just write a comment. Thank you.